I am so excited. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I've got my lovely Candy Shore
apron. Yes.
apron.
You have been domed.
And anyone for tennis? I'm so excited.
Is that for pickleball?
I know, but I've got that. I got all my goodies, and I've got my my sunlights here. And Candy's just told me to put a scoop and a half in, and I got my official card.
You are so funny. Welcome to class.
And I'm all organized, so I'm ready.
Oh Lord, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, right. So then I've got to mix this baby. I'm used to this in the kitchen, so I hope this is not going to challenge me too much.
You'll be fine. So what I want you to do is take your developer. Now this is just 10 volume. Normally I would mix with 50 volume. So this is normally what I would mix with, which is sun cream, 50 volume developer. But you're going to take this 10 and you're going to mix it into your lightener. And remember that you want to use your whisk. You should have a little scoop. Did you have a little scoop that I sent you?
Yeah, I got
an extra.
Oh no, but I can take the scoop out of here.
Okay. It'll be easy if you want, just in the beginning, to mix up a scoop of the developer in your scoop. So you've put a scoop and a half, so you're going to put a scoop of developer and a half a scoop of developer into your bowl. So it's equal parts.
Do you have to be precise?
No, you don't. It's like cooking in your kitchen. Just make it to where you have a good, creamy, sour cream, toothpaste-like consistency. The big challenge is most people want to mix lightener really runny because that's how it's tends to be for foiling. But for balayage, you want it thick because this is clay.
And it smells beautiful.
Thank you. It has a grapefruit extract in it.
Yeah,
so
I can smell that. Often they don't smell very nice, but this smells really good. It's like edible, but I wouldn't recommend, huh?
No, probably not.
All right, so now I've got my equal parts, sort of.
Yes. And
okay.
Mix it with your whisk. And I always say mix with love. You don't want to mix with your brush because if you mix with your brush, you mess your brush up. You want to keep your brush nice.
I'm getting lumps.
It's okay. Lumps are good. Just keep mixing.
Really?
Yeah. And if you need a tiny bit more of the developer, you can put more. Oh, yeah. Stuff's looking good. Let me see that, Vivienne.
Hold on. Oh.
Don't make it. You don't want to make it too runny.
No, but I've
Trust
got more.
Me.
But it's not taking all the powder right now.
Keep mixing.
Does it change?
It does. Maybe a tiny dot, but not much more. That looks good.
So this is very thick.
Yes, you want it thick because literally you want your brush to stand up in the bowl. That's great.
That's brave, isn't it? That's brave.
That's brave. That's very brave. Okay, so don't put that brush in the bowl. That's the paint brush. That's the baby brush. Is that the baby brush?
Oh, I should have done this one?
It's okay. This is the loader brush. This is the big brush. The big brush is what lives in your bowl, okay?
Oh, what do I do with this one?
The paint brush always stays really nice. So take a towel or something and just wipe it off to make it clean again, okay? So you can lay your bowl down and lay your everything down, and you're going to pick up your tail comb. And so we always cut before we color, and of course you've done a beautiful haircut there.
She's cute, isn't she?
She's so cute, and I love to say, one thing that I learned from you, Vivienne, when I took your class many years ago, was there always has to be a triangle somewhere in your work, right? That's what you always taught me.
I know.
And so when I was designing this haircut, I thought to myself, I really got to have some good triangles in here for Vivienne because she's the one that really teaches that perfect triangle in your cut. But basically, you're going to come to the back of the head, and from the top of the head to the top of the ear, you're going to make a section, and you're going to capture the front of your mannequin forward. So you want to capture that hair for the front, okay, top of the head, top of the ear. And you're going to do the same procedure on the other side, which is going to be the top of the head to the top of the ear on the other side. So depending on the head shape, you would be wanting to either make a section that is more of a V,
Yes.
or more of a crescent shape, or more of a straight line. So it's really up to you as to what the haircut and the head shape is doing. So my haircut is going to be a tiny bit more of a V because my shape in the back is a bit more V. But your haircut, based on the haircut that you have, it looks as though your shape might be a bit more crescent. So now just take yourself a tiny section in the top of your hair, maybe a crescent, just to get to the crown, just so we can practice a crochet piece or a crochet piece. Yeah, that's perfect. You clip that off. Lovely. Just clip it away, capture it, take it away. Now, Vivienne, you're right-handed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you think of your paddle, this is your palette, your color palette, correct? So on your paddle, you are going to want to take your loader brush and you're going to want to load your product on the left side of your paddle. So not a lot, just enough for a piece. So you can see that I've loaded that on the left side of my paddle. I'm not all the way down in the center and I'm not all the way onto the actual throat of the paddle. You see, just up in the corner.
The little brush.
No, the loader brush, the big brush from your bowl.
This is my loader brush. All right.
Yeah, that loads the product. Get it?
All right, so I'm going on the left side.
And you just want to flatten it out, nice and flat. Yeah.
I feel like a brickie.
Yeah. Okay. Now put your brush back in the bowl. Put your brush back in the bowl.
Put cement on bricks.
That's enough. That's enough. Good. Yeah. You don't want too much. Now put that back in the bowl. Put your brush back in the bowl. Now pick up your queen. Now you got your queen. And watch how I do this. I'm going to come close to the camera so you can see me. I'm literally going to just take a dome. You see how there's a dome? And on the back of my brush, I have nothing. So it's just a dome. And think of that. The size of my dome determines the size of my streak, right? So that little bit of lightener on the front part of my brush is going to allow me to take a piece of hair.
Okay.
Have you got that loaded?
Well, let's see. So only on one side, and it's
a little dome. Yeah, that's a lot. You see, mine is a little smaller. So try to take a tiny bit of that off. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, perfect. Now, think with me for a minute. I've got a tail comb on the end of my brush. You see this? This is a tail comb. I'm going to turn my hand to the side. I'm going to tap lightly at the regrowth. As I get to the middle, I'm going to rub a little harder.
Yeah.
And then for the ends, this is the important part, Vivienne. I'm going to take more product off of my reservoir of my paddle, and I'm going to lock my piece to the back of my brush.
Yes.
When I do so, then I'm going to shift it over to the paddle and push. And what I'm doing is when I lock it on the back like that, I'm actually adding lightener to the back.
Yep.
As well as adding lightener to the top.
Got it.
Wouldn't be doing that at the scalp, only on the ends.
Got it. Because otherwise, would that kind of like process looking yellowy?
Correct. It would make it. Exactly.
Right. Okay. So am I meant to just come around this back and just kind of get
yes.
Going? All right.
Exactly. So you're just simply looking at. Yes, exactly. You're just figuring out where you would like a beautiful piece painted.
Oh, first
and
of all,
remember, you're going to be to this. No. Yes.
Yeah. I hold
and
it.
Tap.
And I've got to come in lightly on the surface. Then
Correct.
then get it in
And then
more there.
add a little more. And
So then it's going to
your
go
hair
and lay on top of where there's already color or lightener.
Correct.
You can't call it bleach, can you? You've got to call it lightener.
Right. Bleach is for the bathroom.
Bleach is for the bathroom. Right.
Yeah.
It's not a dye job.
It's not a dye job. Exactly.
All right. I was
so good. Nice. So you would just be going through. This is called brochet, and brochet is the French word for brush. So you would just be brushing product on and doing singles. So I could do a low light here if I wanted to. If I wanted to add additional colors, I could have some additional colors on the hair as well. But your stroke is very light, Vivienne. Yeah. And as you're doing your stroke, you want to keep your stroke extremely light. And only on the ends do you actually push hard and give yourself saturation and pressure.
Got it.
And whenever you need more product onto your paddle, you only want to load a flat amount of product. You don't want too much. So that's nice.
All right. Do you generally like to have it be more abstract, or do you like everything to generally be the same width?
I personally paint energy to what I see, and so I read the curl and the texture of the hair. If the hair has a lot of movement, maybe I might do smaller pieces encompassing with bigger pieces. So there's really no right or wrong answer. Okay. But just remember that balayage is flat like lasagna, and weaving or doing a foil is more like spaghetti. It's round. So the width of your piece is not going to be as big as you think it is once it's washed off.
Okay, I just put a big blob right at the top. I forgot.
That's okay. Well, just go and take your brush and just skim over that piece and lightly blend it out. Think of it like putting on makeup or blush. You're just blending it out and softening it as you go.
So now do I use my saran wrap?
Yeah, so as you pull it out, you're going to pull it out and you'll see that it's perforated. There's a little area that has the line. Can you see the lines? And if you kind of pinch that, let me show you closer.
I can't see my line.
There's a little area that has the perforation where it's already pre-torn for you.
Huh? Oh, there it is. Is it?
Yeah. Okay.
I need a magnifying glass. Okay, so now I didn't know where to look. It's all, it's all the bright lights, right? Should I just...
Okay, so you have your piece. So we have our piece. Now watch what I do here. So this is really important. So the very top of my piece of wrap, I'm just lightly just going to turn it over my finger. I'm not really folding it. I'm just letting it lay over my finger so that when I come into the hair, it's a nice smooth line at the scalp. And this is a bit big because it's a medium wrap that I'm using right now. And I believe I also sent you medium wrap. But we also have short wrap and long wrap for different lengths of hair. But as I come in, I'm going to fly in, Vivienne. So as I'm going, I'm not going to take this and slam it with my hand like I would a foil. I'm only going to be using the back side of my hand. And I'm just going to fly in and I'm going to let it static onto the hair very lightly.
Okay, so fly in.
Yes, there you go. Yay! Very nice. Very nice. Now don't push with your hands like that.
Uh-oh. All right.
Right?
All right.
Because you'll trap the gases and you'll also cause the hair to not be able to lift and go. You don't want to strap it in, okay?
Okay, that's a very good piece of information. So I don't need to clip this.
No, ma'am. So now you're going to drop your next section down.
Oh, I'm on a roll now.
So now you're going to drop the next little area down. And you could think about this like this. You could either bricklay it where you laid it in between the ones you already made, or you could go back in and lay it right on top of the one you already made.
Yes.
And that's all a placement and a taste level, you know. So if you want to make bold crescents of color, then you would lay it right on top. We call that a traveler. And if you wanted to just soften and blend, you could lay it in between.
Well, what I like about this is that because you can see what you've got underneath, you can then make a more intelligent decision about
correct
bricklaying versus not bricklaying.
Correct. And we call that the window in which you look through. And if you put a foil here, you wouldn't be able to see through the window.
Oh, I'm about to load. So this is not my loading brush. This is my designing brush, right?
That's your queen.
So I go in with my big loading brush and dollop it on.
Right. And it just helps you. And you can also paint with your loader brush. It's not illegal to paint with your loader brush. So but just know that if you paint with your loader brush, you're going to hit bigger sections of hair because it's a wider brush.
Okay. What's the secret in not getting it tangled?
Okay, so we already know it's only going to be 12 inches, okay?
Yeah.
12 inches. I'm going to take my fingers on both sides of that and I pinch. And whoops, now you put me on the spot and I missed it. I pinch, and when I pinch, it allows me to just tear that piece.
Yeah, you're much lighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Much lighter. I don't ride it like a pony. You know, a lot of people do this. Yeah?
Yeah. All right, so that obviously is too large, but I'm draping it, not clipping.
A strong clip is really, really necessary. I don't know if you notice how strong this clip is.
Very good.
It really holds that hair down, which is super important because if you can't see where you're painting or where you're actually painting to the scalp line, if you can't see that line, then you're going to have issues. Like for instance, if this clip has a bow in it and it's like that, I'm going to bruise into that hair right there. And so it's important that you use a really strong clip so that you can see your part line.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now what I'm going to do is load my brush again. And again, design. So the placement of what you use is up to you. So how much you want to place around the face. I would start in the back, meaning closer to the ear, and I would start my first piece. And then as I go, I would move towards the front to finish off. So it's easier to paint from the back to the front than it is to paint from the front to the back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because once you start to paint the front, you're already in your own way.
Got it. Okay.
So go ahead and add a couple of pieces there.
And it does clearly make a difference holding it between your fingers to do your light touch and then your press in and then the final part on the board. It makes quite a difference.
It does, but you still always want your brush to be more to the side. I have a lot of sayings in the Bali world. I'm going to share a couple with you. One of them is, if it's not white, meaning if it's not really saturated white, it's not light, or it's not going to be light.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is I've added a new one terminology to that, and that is if I see brown, I'm going down. And what that means is if I'm scraping the product off and I see brown through my streak, I know that it's not going to lift.
Okay, that's
so it's important to keep think of it like if I was putting nail polish on or acrylic, I would have to have a thick enough piece to really cover. That's lovely. Your brush stroke is nice. Very nice, Vivienne.
Oh, well, thank you. And I already have color climbing all the way up here, and you said only to use the product on one side of the brush.
Well, that's okay. You can continue to clean it off. One of the things that I use a lot when I'm painting hair that can be really helpful is baby wipes. So I just use baby wipes. As a matter of fact, in the salon, we put color stain remover inside of our baby wipes so that when we pull them out, they already have color stain remover in them.
And how do you charge?
So I charge as, I don't believe in the word partial, especially in balayage, because to me, partial to me is like when someone asks you if a trim is the same price as a haircut. Partial means half of a good thing. Sometimes it means half, you know what. And So I charge starting at. So for me, I start at $140 and go up.
I see. And is that based on time or based on length of hair?
It's both based on time and the amount of product that I use as well. It's very difficult for me to call it on time because even if I paint something that only takes me 8 minutes, I'm still going to charge that. But to the balayage artist that's out there, I would recommend that you try to think about what an hour of your time is worth, and you kind of start there. So to me, even if I'm only painting in 10 minutes, I'm giving myself, if it was foiling, it would take 30 minutes to an hour to do this process. So she's used to paying $140 an hour of my time. So you basically just get yourself a raise if you can do it in less time.
And how do you justify, say, for example, if you're going to do this in highlights and it's going to take you, say, twice the amount of time, but the client's just thinking, well, it's just blonde and it's, you know, it's not a total coverage, wherever that's going to be. How do you justify the difference between your highlighting time and your balayage time in how you charge?
Well, I think the results, you know, balayage is very addicting. When you start getting it done to your hair, it becomes extremely addicting. And so I never had to justify if it only took me a minute to do it, as long as the results that I gave them had a wow factor to it.
Yes.
But I know that when people start out, they are always nervous about how much. I've never really had much of an issue with that, honestly.
Okay.
So I think I would say to the stylist is know your value, charge what you're worth, but also be worth what you charge. Yes. And how to be worth what you charge is how you dress and how you are and how you carry yourself in the salon. Far too often I walk into an environment where I wouldn't pay the money to go there.
Yeah.
So if you're worth what you charge, it's worth it.
I'm going on to my second side. Is that okay?
Yes, I'm on my second side as well.
Okay, because the top part, we're going to do that backcombing method, correct?
Correct. So you're just kind of adding your pieces along the way and deciding how much energy you want to add in the hair. Now keep in mind that it's what makes light look lighter is dark. So as you're placing or deciding on your section and where you're going to place this, I think it's important that you sort of read the hair.
And I just realized I'm using both sides of the brush, but you don't want that. You want it just on the one side.
You know what? It's okay if you do, but one of the reasons why I keep the other side dry is that I call this my dry brush. And so if I need to blend, almost like makeup, almost like if you had a sponge and you were blending the rouge of your makeup, when I have a drier brush side, it allows me to come in and clean up anything around me that might need wiping off. So if you think about it like that, that can kind of help you.
Okay.
But there's nothing wrong with taking your brush and just literally cleaning it off, you know, and starting over. It's not, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
So I'm just going to do like up to the parietal and the temple, right? And then we're going to change the technique. So talk to me through your consultation.
Well, I think a couple of things that are always important when you are a colorist is great consultation. Consultation is king, in my opinion. However, you don't want to spend 30 minutes talking about a consultation because that's time is the value of money as well. A couple things that I look for in consultation is always the eye color and always the vein color. So the vein color, if the vein color is more blue, then I know that the underlying pigment of hair color that they were going to pull is a cooler tone. If the vein color is more green, then I know that they have more warmth or more yellow in their hair. And the same goes for thinking about the eye color. So the pupil of the eye is the prism in which someone looks through. So if you have guests in your chair that say, oh, I think my hair looks red. I think it looks brassy. I think it looks too dark. Well, if they're looking through dark prisms like brown eyes, then they're seeing darker colors. If I'm looking through a blue eye, which is what I look through, I'm seeing a cooler, lighter color. So it's very important to educate your guests through consultation about what is the underlying pigment of their hair, what they can expect from that expectation of what the hair is going to pull, and what you must do in that consultation process to drive them to the place of expectation. And that place of expectation is if they expect really light white highlights, then you need to talk about the process it takes to get there. And so those are just ways that I spend in consultation. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, but let's face it, filtering is the reality versus the filter. So you have to be very careful as a colorist now with social media and filters and what their hair may or may not look like.
What is the most common look that you're being asked to create right now?
I would say the most common look now is a technique that I created a long time ago, and I actually trademarked it, and it's called the money piece.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's really trending right now. It's a technique, like I said many years ago, created, and really I'm seeing more and more strength around the face and a lot of dark behind that. So that's kind of been, I guess, what I'm hearing of people wanting. Another popular aspect is obviously foliage. People are wanting to do both a balayage and a foil combination. That's been a big plus of things that people are out there doing. And I actually just came out with the first ever foil lightener with clay in it, like the clay that you're working with now.
Wow.
Yeah, so we just launched that, and it's called Moonlights. So we have sunlights and moonlights now.
And what does that do that's different to what we've traditionally used?
Well, what it does that's different is it leaves the hair in impeccable condition. So if you think about clay being a mask or being something that's going to condition the hair, it's a way to really leave the hair feeling great in condition. And what I have found is the technology in lighteners now to get optimal lift are so much better. And so it's a premium product that really gets maximum lift in a smaller amount of time, but leaving the hair feeling beautiful and not damaged.
Wow. Wow. So with this method that we're doing right now, how many levels can we go? How many levels can we lift to with the 10 volume and with your sunlights? And
well, with 10 volume, let's face it, we're not going to get as much lift as when I'm working in the salon and I'm using a 50 volume or a 40 volume.
Yes.
The reason we did 10 was because I was concerned about you getting it on your hands and getting it on your clothes and getting it on the carpet and all those places. So when we practice
which I've done very successfully. I got 10 out of 10. My nice white, I've got white streaks on my lovely new black apron.
Well, the good news is the apron is like a mosquito net. It's going to take it away, so you're going to be fine. But I truly, in the classroom, we tend to work with 10 volume simply because we're going slower.
Yes.
And we're not looking for maximum lift. But in the salon, 25 minutes, you can use heat if need be. I don't use a lot of heat, but a lot of folks do use heat. So it's really up to you as to what volume you use, but just remember that you're freehand painting. So the hair is going to be much different in lift through freehand painting than it is in a foil. Okay, so now, Vivienne, it looks to me like on one side you need to come up just a tiny bit higher with one more section. Okay. And that would be not on your short side, but your longer side.
This
I think
side?
on the other side.
This side?
I think on the other side, yes.
You want me one section higher? Okay.
Yes, I think you should go one section higher there.
Okay.
And you're doing wonderful. I'm super impressed.
Oh, well, really. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's when you're not used to doing this kind of stuff, it's quite fascinating because as I'm doing it, I'm going through some questioning, and then, you know, it's developing good habits, and I keep putting my brush, my brush
Yeah.
from my design in the bowl.
Yes.
And that's why it's getting so messy. Huh.
Yeah, and what I tend to do, Vivienne, is I tend to anchor my brush on the side of my bowl. Let me see if I can, like as if this is the table, I anchor my brush on the very side so that my bristles stay nice and clean.
Yes.
Instead of laying it down with a paddle or laying it down.
And it's definitely harder on the shorter hair to do.
Yes, it is a little harder, but you know, doing longer hair takes a lot more brush strokes and a lot more product.
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's easier and quicker for you to sort of see balayage results by going ahead and just doing a short piece of hair.
Yes.
Okay, so I've taken a small section around the money piece, which is the front part of the hair, and we are going to paint a couple of pieces there. Now, what I want you to keep in mind as you're doing that, now, how much lightener do you have left?
Oh, I've got plenty. Well,
okay.
I think I do.
Okay. We can always remix if you need to.
Yeah.
So when I'm painting here, I want you to be thinking about starting at the bottom and painting this piece out and back and bringing it and wrapping it away.
Off the
out
face.
of the way. You see how I wrapped it away?
Yes.
Okay, and that's going to be important as I paint this because I really want some strength here. Now I'm going to go to the ends. I'm not going straight to the scalp here on this next piece. You see I'm starting in the mid shaft and I'm going to paint away because I want the dark because I'm laying two streaks next to each other. You see how these two pieces have nothing in between?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to take a small piece of my wrap and I'm going to lay an anchor down for that just to, as an insurance policy. I'm just going to lay that down over the top. And then when I come to this piece of hair, we're going to do a process called pancaking. So first thing that I would like you to do while you're learning to pancake is you're going to tear your perforated wrap and you're going to get it prepared for it easy to grab. And how I want you to make it easy to grab is just to make it like a cigarette and get it ready to grab because that's going to be a piece that you're going to place under as a buffer, this piece, because we're actually going to paint on both sides of this piece. And that's the only piece that we're painting on both sides of. So why don't you first take your first two pieces and paint those, and then we'll go over how to paint the money piece.
All righty. So this is my piece for later.
Yes. So put that in reachability, someplace that you can reach it really easy. Perfect.
All right. So now I'm going to load
you're going
my
to paint
brush.
your two pieces.
And I've got my piece here.
Correct.
So I'm going to take it away from the face.
Yes, and wrap it kind of back and away. And the purpose of that is if you think about a curl, Vivienne, you want to be on the front side of the curl, correct?
Yeah.
Not on the back side of the curl.
All right. So now make sure I get it on the underneath.
Correct, and wrap away.
Maybe I haven't got enough there. Oh, on the side. Remember, Vivienne, the side of the brush. You're wiping.
Yes, very nice. That's great. That was a beautiful brush stroke.
All right, so now side by side. I'll leave out a piece.
This one you're going to come out more towards the mid shaft and ends. Now, granted, your hair is a little shorter, so you can go up closer to the scalp, and but you don't want to go all the way to the scalp on this piece.
On the side.
Lay
it
down.
Back. Make sure I get it on the underneath. Feather it.
Add a little more product there. Just take it from your brush. Perfect. and walk it back. And you can now see how being on the side of the brush is making a big difference in the results that you're getting.
Okay, so now I do the same with this one?
You can do one more, but not the front piece. The front piece we're going to do together.
It's very therapeutic, isn't it, doing this?
Yes. We have folks in my Sunlights camp that call it Bali yoga. Because you're literally with your hands and your legs, you're moving like a shock absorber, and it's lovely. That looks nice.
I forgot I went up high. I just got carried away.
That's okay. That's okay. Go ahead and take a piece of wrap and just cover that.
Oh. I'm not doing well with my
You're doing fine with the brolly wrap. You are fine.
All right, there we go. Don't press it. All right.
Don't press it. Back of your hands. That's right. Okay, so Vivienne, I have a piece about 1 inch wide. How big do you have?
Larger.
Okay, go ahead and paint one more piece.
I think, is that too much?
I'm not talking about this piece. I'm talking about this piece here. It's about 1 inch wide.
This? Oh no, she's spindly. I can make it 1 inch wide.
Yeah, so you're just going to grab. Well, no, you don't need. Well, you have some pre-highlights there, so that's fine.
Yeah, she has a highlight there, so
that's fine. That's fine. So push that back. That's perfect. Just part that off. Lovely. Okay.
Right.
Now, what I would like you to do is, in the middle of that piece, I want you to add one more piece and wrap it back, because you've not done enough. Yeah.
Okay.
And wrap that back. That's going to be perfect.
All right. Got it.
You got to load your paddle.
So I'm not going to go to the root on this.
You're not pancaking. Well, you can go a little to the root. That's fine if you want to. It's fine. Okay, good.
I hope I'm not so painful to watch.
You're not. You're doing amazing.
Oh, this is the clean side. This is the gooey side. Right. On the side.
Flat. Nice and flat.
Oh, there's a big lump.
That's okay. Just place your brush under. There you go. Keep smoothing it. There you go.
I bet you're good at painting walls.
I've done a little painting in my days, yeah.
I'm useless.
You're doing great. Okay, now reload. Like, take your brush bristle under the piece. Go under the piece and reload. That's what reloading is. Reload and reload. That's lovely. See, that's giving you saturation. You're not going to get lift without saturation. So the more you're reloading, that's great. And
swoosh.
I love it. And just swing it all the way to the wall in the back. Okay, so Vivienne, now we're ready to paint the money piece.
Oh, that wasn't the money piece?
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
And actually that was just the piece before the money piece.
That was the piece before the money piece.
Just so that I can make.
My girl's expensive. She wants the money piece.
Well, you know what they say. The reason I named it the money piece is if you don't paint the money, you don't make the money. You know? Right?
You're a poet and you didn't know it.
I didn't know it. Okay, so I just lowered my mannequin. So if you want to lower, can she go any lower? No.
No, she's got long legs.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I'll go tall.
So don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Okay, so do me a favor and tilt her head all the way back.
She can't do that either.
Just tilt her back as much as you can.
Oh.
She can't do that either.
No, she can't do that either. She neck injury.
Okay, well, do you have a stool you could stand on?
It's from living in a box. All right, where am I going? The back?
Well, I just wanted you to kind of get behind her. You see, I'm right-handed, so my right hand is going to be in front of her face like this. But I want to kind of almost have my body position behind her a little.
Yes.
Okay. And that's why I'm asking you to work on getting her. Yeah.
Oh, darling. Don't look at me with those eyes.
Okay. So can you leave her on the table?
Oh, I lost my cigarette thing that I have no idea.
It's okay.
All right.
Just lay that down on the table.
Lay that down on the table. All right. We're going to go backwards.
You're fine. Why don't I just paint one for you and you can watch?
Yeah. And I'll have a go. I'll just do it with I'll straddle.
You just have to stand on your tiptoes to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Don't worry.
I think you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's watch the master at work.
Okay. So first, you're going to go up and back. So this would be where her sunglasses would be, up and back and away. So this is a big money piece. You see, I'm really coming after it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to step over and I'm going to paint this side. That's why I call it pancaking. So I've actually flipped it over. So I'm essentially painting both sides of this piece. And I've got a lot of lightener so that as I come through, I'm really pancaking on both sides of that piece. And the purpose of the cigarette, and mine actually fell off too, so now I'm going to have to stretch, is that if I lay this down, it's going to bruise into the other hair. But if I lay this under, it's going to lift it up and out and away. And then I can just fold it down. You see? So I'm just literally almost like those bendy rollers that you can set hair with. I'm just going to sit it right under and just bend my arms around so that I can add enough lightener on the underneath.
Okay, got it. So my one, I've only got one little itty bitty piece that I could do as my money piece. Because
that's fine. You can just do one.
Yeah, I think I will do one. So we're going to recline.
Okay. This is going to be really cute.
Oh, I'm holding her. Oh, hold on a moment. I'm holding her up by her hair. This is very. But
you won't have another hand to brush stroke.
Oh well, maybe I'll put it. Hey, I ride horses. I'll put it between my legs.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to do this. Right. This is why we have breasts. She's balanced on the breasts. I am breathing gently. Am I using this?
Yes. Okay, where's your brush? You know, I like how you're improvising. This is good.
Oh,
I think this is a great interpretation.
All right, so now, all right.
Okay.
So now,
okay, you're giving balayage a bad name, Vivienne. Come on, you got this.
I'm being a good girl. There we go. I'm coming back. I'm light. I'm on the side of my brush.
Yes,
in this part, right?
The front. Mm-hmm. That's fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, I came back here first.
Yes.
And then you took it over directionally that way, correct?
No, the other way. The other way.
This way.
Yes. So that you're on the top ridge.
Oh, I see. So I'm coming in there. So now I'm taking it over this way. I then come over here, and I come over there, and now, and I've got to load it up and make sure that it's saturated on both sides.
Correct. Wow. It's okay. How you did that, I don't know, but you did it.
She's going to go flying in a moment.
Okay, but you got to have your cigarette ready to go underneath. You see how you have your face? Somebody pass this woman a cigarette. Yay! Excellente.
That's the first time I've done that.
Yes.
So that must not lay on here. That's got to lay there. And then, I got it in my mouth. Now I just tie this gently. I mustn't crush it. So it's got to lay there so it's not touching anything else. Because it mustn't bruise, my new word.
Well, yeah, because bleeding is for the ER, right? bleeding is for the is for the medical field, not for painting hair or for coloring hair. So bruising just means it bruises into that other hair and it bruises down into that. And one of the biggest complaints in balayage is typically that people see dots and spots when they're finished and they want to know why. And much of it is your saturation, much of it is your brush stroke, but it's also the fact that you lay hair on top of other hair. And if you lay it down and it's not properly put, you will bruise in.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so now take a piece of wrap and cover that whole thing. So I just covered mine. So take a wrap and cover those ends. So I just covered up my cigarette and everything with another piece of wrap.
Yes. This is a lot of fun.
Yes, it is a lot of fun.
I can see why people obsess over this.
It's a lot of fun because you can really just be an artist and have fun placing color in unique areas that you might not do if you were foiling.
Yes. Well, I like the fact that it's so visual.
Correct.
A foil always.
You're doing great.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. Now the top.
Okay. So on the top here, based on the size of your section and based on the placement and based on the amount of your layering.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is the easiest way for me to usually tease the hair is just taking a brush and just kind of teasing it up.
Yes.
And you can use a comb as well, of course. You can use a comb, but for me, it's just a lot easier to get a mohawk with a brush. And the purpose of, I'm sure you've seen recently a lot of folks doing foiling with teasing and things of that nature. So what I'm doing here is I'm just teasing it up to make the ends a bit less straight or flat. So I kind of have a mohawk, which you can see in my mirror, and you want to get as much of the hair up there as possible.
So are you getting rid of like 20% of the hair, 50% of the hair, so that you're
however much? So think of it this way: if I was foiling hair and I did a weave and I did 50%, I would have obviously 50% of the hair would be blonde and 50% of the hair would be dark. Now I'm on the top of the hair. I don't want it all to be gone, but I want to be able to see some brightness on the ends. So I'm probably more at like 40% weave and woven in and 60% out.
Now,
so
do you ever use hairspray?
No.
No.
No. Typically, if I wouldn't do this on hair much longer than what you're seeing here on my doll.
Because you can't defy gravity. Yes.
Correct. It's going to fall down.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm trying to paint this whole waterfall and it's going to fall down and over. So wherever my short side is, I'm going to push to the long side. That's going to be the top layer of the hair. But you can see now placement, like part of that crown may or may not have already had a brochet piece in it, correct?
Yes.
So now that you see that teased up like that, you can kind of visualize where that color would live throughout.
Yes.
And if you were really needing some strength coming towards the back, you would have already painted a piece there, or you're not going to get much because this is going to be very diffused.
All right, so now let's have fun, huh? More fun.
Okay, so now you have to have enough product, Vivienne, a good amount, like at least that much. You see how much is on my brush? A lot. So if you don't have enough, you need to mix because you can't do this and,
how about that?
And stop. Yeah, you're good. Okay, so now your goal is you're going to only pick up your loader brush and you're going to load your whole paddle, the whole paddle, like that.
The whole paddle.
Yeah, not all the way down, but flatten it out a little. Well, you got a little too much there. Yeah. Make it nice and flat and cute. There you go. Flatten it out.
Candy, you know when you're hungry, when you look at something like this and think, cream cheese, bagel, cup of coffee.
Okay. You still have a tiny bit. Yeah. Okay. Flatten that out just a little. There you go. Take some of that and put it back in your bowl. Yeah.
This is very good product.
Yeah.
It's very good. I can see. I can see this is very good. All right.
Okay, so now you're going to use only your loader brush. Put your queen down. Your queen cannot do this. It has to be the big brush.
Oh, the big brush.
So put your queen down.
Oh, but this one's covered in product.
It's okay. It's okay to be covered. You want it to be covered.
Oh,
so is mine. Look, mine is all covered. You see? Both sides.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So now I'm going to take my paddle and my brush, and I'm going to begin to paint into what I have there and pulling that from the other side. So I'm working this hair back and away, and how far down I go is literally up to me on how my ends are. So I'm going to go to the other side so you can see. So I'm painting this like so.
You're good.
Okay.
Look at that.
And remember, it's teased, so that hair is going to stay up for you.
Yeah. That is great. That was cool.
Okay, so what that's going to create for you at the end is a very diffused color. So the ends will be bright, the scalp will still remain dark. Okay.
Beautiful. Okay. I'll have a go.
Like that in the salon. So I just push her over, and then I take my wrap and I just cover lightly where I painted so that that hair is out and away, and she looks more like that. She's done. It's fun, huh?
It's very much fun. Yes. Wow, this is cool. You know what, too? All of us hairdressers love instant gratification.
Yes.
And this way of working, you see a result. There is a lot of control, and there's creativity, and it's not rigid in terms of, well, this is the plan and we've got to follow it. Obviously, you have a vision, but went the wrong way. But I think that the ability to be organic and like, oh, well, I just got inspired because I could see something within a makeup that
go to the other side. Step onto the other side now, like completely your whole body. Yeah, lovely. Turn your paddle around the other way. There you go. Now you'll have a better brush stroke. So you really want to step on both sides and brush with your paddle and your brush together. And a lot of times you'll see me just literally like over and over and over to saturate it, like reloading. Reload.
Should I put more reload then?
No, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Reload, reload. Yes, now you have it. Now do reload on the other side, and make sure that you don't have a solid line between where you started and where you stopped, so that you have more like a up and down, up and down. Think of it like a heart monitor. It needs to be up, down, up, down, up, down, so that it's more blended. And that means that the brush has to be more to the side.
Oh.
Yeah? Yeah, now you see. Fun, huh?
Yeah, on this side I did a line.
Yeah, so now you have to diffuse that line. Because when it gets shampooed out, the teasing is going to allow that to eliminate the line. So when it falls down, it will just go from blended to really light.
And this area in here where it's a little bit softer, that won't end up being orange?
No, because typically you're going to do this on the type of hair color or the natural hair color that's going to, when you think about hair color in general, if I were to take a slice and put it into a foil, it's going to lift nicely. So the fact that you're barely bruising product onto that hair, it's going to lift lovely. The heavier I put my product on, the more requirement it's going to take to lift it. So when you're just lightly dusting on the hair, you're going to have a nice lift. And it's going to look like hair that's lightened naturally by the sun, which is diffused a bit lighter to brighter. Yay! Good student! Look at that! Screenshot! Screenshot! I should have my camera and take a picture of that.
Yeah,
Shoot.
we should. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is a screenshot moment.